Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Salad Club Podcast. Drop that beat.
Yeah, same time zone, let's go. Eastside vibe, feel that flow. DC move, still locked in. Salad Club, we back again. Yeah.
Yo, what is up, Anna?
Hey Ken, so fun to be on the same coast.
Oh,
You can count.
yeah,
you can count Ohio as a coast.
We are on the same time zone.
Yeah, let's call it that.
Right. Yeah.
Which is fun.
That's kind of weird, huh? We're on the East Coast. Not really.
It's not usual. Yeah, I mean, since when is the Midwest a coast? I guess if you count the Great Lakes for sure, but
yeah.
That's not really your vibe in your part of Ohio, but that's okay. I am much closer to actual water in Washington, D.C. this week.
Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit more why you're there and what you've been up to there.
Oh, for sure. Well, as we're recording this, I should say it's the very end of the week when I'm here. And it's been so fun. I've basically been tagging along with my sister on her business trip because we like to travel together. So we're like, any excuse will do. But the cool thing is the government relations team from eBay they're all in the eBay office that's in DC. So I got to go visit the office and talk with them about some of the stuff that, I generally work with them on. And it was just so fun because at this point, the people that we work with closely are friends too. And it was just nice to hang out and catch up. Since Germany, I mean, the last time I was in person with any of them, that team was in Germany. So it was fun to catch up and talk about the current issues and talk about what's coming down the pike a little bit. So that was just a really good time. I spent most of one of the days this week hanging out with them. And the rest of the time I've been mostly in multiple coffee shops all over DC working on my laptop, still doing a lot of stuff for my store. But it made a little bit of a complication for our challenge for this week because I wasn't home to do the challenge in the typical way that I would expect to. So we'll talk more about that later, but that's pretty much it. I've been doing a little sightseeing, drinking a lot of really good coffee, and getting a lot of work done, which is really satisfying. So it's been a good trip.
That's good. Well, we've been listing a lot.
Good.
We're pushing ourselves to at least list something every day, and I think the least we had was like 12 listings in one day, and that's just because we're working on drafting and photographing. I'm kind of like in that spring cleanup mood, spring cleanup vibe. So that's what we've been up to. Besides that, been working out a lot. So we've been working out every day, cooking at home, trying to get our diet locked in. So that's what we've been up to. But yeah, eBay has been slow.
Same. Everyone I've talked to said that. Basically, the month of April has been super slow.
Yeah, so 2/3 in, and I've noticed that this month, well, I say it's slow, it's because it's coming off a really strong month. That's
True.
Kind of what I feel.
March was huge, yeah.
Right, but I don't know how they trend year to year. And obviously, like, I always question myself, like, did I restock enough and stuff like that? So that's kind of like, it's like a what would you call that? It's like a what's real, kind of
like a perception thing.
Yeah, right. Like, is it a perception? Like, have I been spending too much? Have I, am I not listening to?
It always makes you question yourself when you're like, oh no, the train just hit its brakes. What happened?
And then I always look at traffic and stuff like that. Traffic's down, obviously, because it's compared to, previous month. We're on the downtrend of traffic already going in. But also to, where everything's at, economy-wise and everything, maybe people are just more budget conscious, right?
Not to mention, the first 2 weeks of April is also the last 2 weeks before taxes.
That too.
So I think a lot of people are like, ugh, am I going to have to pay taxes?
Yeah, or not thinking about, shopping, but
yes,
working on taxes.
But then hopefully after tax day, when the majority of tax returns are back, we'll see a little bit of an uptick. That's my hope, is that the second half will balance out. Or even May, right? Like maybe not even April, but
right.
Yeah, somebody I was talking to this week mentioned that. A friend of mine mentioned that. And I'm like, that's a good consideration. I hadn't really thought about that. Because even if people are just, not worried about the dollar amount, which I think most people probably are, they are also scrambling to get their taxes done. And they're not spending time on shopping. They're spending time on this is my last chance to be on time. So, but hey, some people file extensions. Lots of people do. And if that's you, shameless plug for Seller Ledger, because they can still help you get your books straight before you have to file if you've already filed an extension. If you're hearing this when it comes out, tax day has come and gone. So you better have filed an extension. But
so that's been pretty much up with eBay update and stuff like that. We have built into our, I guess, system or habit to consistently be on Poshmark every morning to delist items that have sold the previous day. So we still haven't added more listings to Poshmark, but we are maintaining our Poshmark closet, to be as accurate as they are.
Yeah, so you're trying to get back to square one with that.
Yeah, trying to get not suspended.
Right. Yeah, I've had to go through and and we're actually talking more about cross-listing later in this episode, but I've had to be really careful about making sure my quantities are correct, because I have to manually change the quantity of items on multiple platforms when something multi-quantity sells.
Right.
Which is kind of annoying, but that's the burden I bear with my cross-lister right now. So it's tolerable. I just have to do it basically every day, or I'll be like, oh no, when was the last time I did that? And what if I oversell something? Right. Which has happened a couple times. Nothing too drastic, but
on Posh?
Yeah.
Oh, and you still haven't suspended?
No, so far, but we'll see. There's still, the day is young. Could happen today.
Okay, well, let's jump right into it while we're in the Poshmark tone.
Totally.
Because
that's one thing. I haven't been listing much as I've been on this trip, but I have been cross-listing more because I listed a bunch of drafts I'd prepared, but once I was done with that, I'd turn my attention to cross-listing because that's how I can spread my items around. So
well, good for you. So you know what? Well, if you guys don't know, Anna is finally multi-platform seller.
Finally.
And we have been multi-platform seller part-time.
Yeah.
So we know the value of it, and I guess our conversation today would be, just our experience about it, and whether maybe we're still trying to convince ourselves to be serious about it and truly see that it is a strong arm, could possibly be a strong arm for our business, or maybe it could be a full-time salary on the side, and eBay becomes our, just a business that we get to reinvest in.
Yeah, true. I mean, you guys have had multi-channel for a long time in my mind. And I think some years it's been more valuable than others in terms of your bottom line and how much you pulled in that year.
Right.
But to me, and I don't know, this is what I've heard a lot of people say, but it seems to be true in my experience also, just that if you're able to sell more of your stuff faster, closer to what you want to get for it, that's only going to benefit your business, right? If it doesn't cost you way more to do that. So that's why I'm trying it again. And I'm really only a couple months into this experiment. So, but it is going well, shockingly well in some ways. I can't even believe.
So tell us about that. Like, what, how, how shocking it is, I guess, or what changed this time? Because obviously you've tried it previous time, and share the experience.
Yeah, so a previous time, a couple of years ago, I was using List Perfectly, and I was trying to go. What was I doing? I was doing Poshmark. Poshmark's the one I thought would take off. I didn't make a
Mm-hmm.
single sale on Poshmark in like or like maybe 6 months. At some point, I quit putting new stuff there, but I had at least 200 listings over there at one time, I
Okay.
remember. So didn't sell anything out of 200 of what I would consider my best items, like
Mm-hmm.
back then. I did make a few sales on Mercari and a few sales on Depop.
Okay.
And I hadn't even opened the door to Etsy yet, but I was planning on getting there. So, but after like all of that time, and it was, it's a lot of administration work, or it was
Mm-hmm.
for me back then, and with that cross lister, to get it set up and to learn the ropes, right? So I just didn't have a good experience. I just thought, man, I put in so much work, and all of that time I could have been putting into my eBay store, which I know is going to yield a return.
Yeah.
Like those same hours could have gone just back into eBay. That it's always worked for me, and it would have probably been better. Other than that, I had the experience of trying it and learned a lot from it, which was helpful. But I ultimately decided, like, I don't think that's worth my time.
Mm-hmm.
So I quit doing it. And then I didn't try it again for 2 years. So I tried again this year in Germany. All of the Germany crew twisted my arm, the sellers
Right.
twisted my arm. You have to try this, And so I tried a different cross lister. This time I'm using Vendu. And again, though, had to learn the ropes, had to start over, had to import everything from my eBay store.
Right.
That's how I started anyway. You can create listings directly in Vendu, but I started because all my stuff was already on eBay. I just
Yeah.
pulled it over to Vendu, kind of saved it into that catalog, and then cross-posted it from there to Poshmark, which I had the lowest hopes for because of my
Mm-hmm.
previous experience, but I reluctantly did it anyway. Depop, Mercari. I tried Vinted, but it didn't work, and I have not
Mm-hmm.
been able to list a single thing there, so I'm giving up on that one. And then Etsy actually did finally put some of my best, I would say, vintage stuff on Etsy.
Okay.
So currently, this is, mid-February of 2026. That's when I started my free trial for 2 weeks with Vendu. And I started just dumping, importing all my listings over there, identifying what am I going to put on what platform, because I'm not putting everything everywhere. So that's one other difference. I was kind of doing that before. And like, I think I have a little over 1,000 listings on Poshmark, a little over 400 on Depop. I had 50 on Mercari, and I just deleted them yesterday because I am over it with Mercari.
Having 1,000 listing on Poshmark, that's strong though. That's a,
Yeah,
I mean
that's a
that's
big
a
closet.
significant jump compared to your 200 the last time.
It is, but the reason is I kind of started out, and about 50-ish on Etsy as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I've made sales on Etsy, Depop, and Poshmark, but Poshmark has absolutely taken the cake. Like last month in March, I sold, I think it was about $3,500 on Poshmark.
Mm-hmm.
That was like almost a third of my revenue for the month was on Poshmark, and that was my first month on the platform. And then I also did about 500 on Depop, which was surprising.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like, it's a big closet. But when I first started, like during my free trial, when I imported everything into Vendu and then I was starting to push things out to the other platforms, I would do like, okay, let me do 25 to Poshmark, and then I'll do 25 to Depop. And I kind of like spread it out a little bit. And around the time I was getting to 50 on each, Poshmark was already having so many sales. So then I just focused on that one because it was telling me to. And so now there's not that much more that I would probably put on Poshmark, except for like the new stuff that I'm actively listing. But like I'm gonna try to get my Depop to 1,000 next.
So would you say what's on your Posh are more like fashion, clothing,
Yes.
specific items?
Definitely. It's clothing, it's footwear, accessories.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Swim.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that is such a kind of like, I guess, good call out that you saw that there was some traction already. Well, mind you, during this time when we were talking about you starting Poshmark, a lot of people have been getting suspended. As a matter of fact, me and
It's
Yinka
a
were
dumpster fire.
we were suspended at that moment.
At the
But
same time.
but still, right? In the US, Poshmark, I would still say is, number 2 next to eBay, as far as kind of like that fashion.
See, I would say it was number 2,
direct to
but for a
consumer.
different reason. I'm almost mad. That was a poop joke. I'm almost mad that it's going so well because I really despised it, and I was like, there's no way this is gonna work. But you know what? I don't mind. I don't mind having egg on my face about this because I want everyone to know that you're allowed to change your mind.
Yes, that is true. And the thing with, besides the managing the inventory, the app itself is not bad. It's very simple, right? Like,
it's pretty simple. I had some problems with it for the first month, I would say.
Right.
Like My Shoppers, there's a whole area called My Shoppers where you can do really cool stuff like bundle things and like send offers on bundles and bundle people's likes into a bundle, whatever. None of that worked at all for me for the whole first month. It just was like grayed out. Like I couldn't use it.
Oh,
and I was like, well, that sucks. That's a good feature, but now it works.
Or something like that.
I don't know. I talked to customer service about it. There was no explanation ever.
So here's the thing. When I said we were cross-listing Poshmark, the only thing that we did, and I still don't do any of the bundle, offer bundles and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I literally just wait for them to send an offer and bundle.
Yeah.
I do have automatic bundling, right? Like automatic bundling discount. I think
yeah, mine's 10%. Like 15%.
Like I pretty much leave it as is, and what I like about it is, like people, I feel like they just send offers right there, and you see it, right? Like, yeah, lowball offer it is. Then I like the seeing of history of offers. That's why we keep telling eBay like, hey, Poshmark can do this. Let's do this here on eBay too.
Right.
I like that. And also, I don't know, maybe it's me that I sell other stuff on Posh that don't really sell on eBay. So there are a lot of times that I make more money on items that I have clearance on eBay because I don't constantly clearance my Poshmark closet.
Yeah.
Like my strategy is, for example, is $100 footwear on eBay. I list it on Posh for $110. And it just sits there. And occasionally, maybe once or twice a week, I would just do offer to likers, and I usually do like the typical 10%, discounted shipping and stuff like that. And then I just do it like that. But no, it is a really good option to have as a secondary outlet. Because there are times when you clearance stuff on eBay cheap, they still won't sell. But I have an inkling that if we do that on Posh and you lower it, I think it would sell. Because I think there's a lot more savvy shoppers on Posh. I know that because that's me on Posh. I shop a lot on Posh for personal and inventory.
Well, and I feel like there's a lot more upfront messaging with Poshmark about like sell your stuff so you can buy yourself new stuff.
Yeah.
Like in the spendable
like upgrade,
funds kind of
trade
thing.
in your closet basically, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That seems like it's more the motivation for a larger portion of the buyers there.
I feel like, like I look at the people's closet, right? When I could tell that it's more of a personal closet, then I notice that they're more willing to, work a deal with you. And then compared to kind of like when they look at my closet, it's like, oh, this guy's a store, right?
Right.
So that's
right.
kind of like, I guess.
Oh, you mean you're not modeling your items?
No, I don't model anything there, right?
Some of that is so funny.
Yeah. So that is one of the things, but no, I 100% agree. I think for us, the hesitation that we have right now, that's why we haven't really fully jumped back in, is because we're still trying to get our eBay store close to 100%.
Like
right?
tip-top shape, yeah.
Yeah, tip-top shape. I tell people this is like, like they ask me, it's like, hey, how's things going? I said, like travel-wise, buying-wise, it slowed down a lot. Selling, yes, it slows down, during this time of the year. But in a way, this is where a lot of the busy work happens.
Yeah.
And I'm constantly having to battle with it mentally because it's like, there's 2 of these here, there's 3 of this, that. And I kid you not, there was one day we just worked on, the way I buy is I try to buy multi-quantity all the time. And when we list, we prioritize multi-quantity. But we're at the point that we've listed all the multi-quantity. I know you're used to this, right?
Because I know, that's why I'm laughing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, one-offs? Oh.
Right. Golly. Like I saw 2 boxes, huge boxes of one-offs. And I kid you not, it was like 150 items of one-offs. And it was like, and I tried to find a stock photo for it. I tried to do due diligence on, but I'm thinking, I'm like, golly, like for one item.
I know. It is slow. It is slow.
Yeah.
Like last week, well, okay. I'm also, in true Anna Packer fashion, I'm doing like 3 layers of things this month in my store. And one of them is doing kind of a sprint month, but I only have 18 days of the month that I'm doing that. And so this whole week that I've been in DC, none of those days were counted.
Yeah.
But still, like before I left on this trip, I was busting it to get drafts done and get photos done. And I didn't get as many photos as I hoped, but I did end up getting like 40. And yeah, like you said, they're all one-offs. And I'm so glad I did, because like that does seem grueling at times, but a few of them have already sold. Like I've listed them this week. There's a really special story I'm going to tell later on the podcast because it's so good. I don't want to jinx it. So I'm not saying anything about it right now. But a sale that happened while I was here, I'll tell you about it. I promise I'll tell all of you all about it because it's such a cool story. But, even without that, just the other normal sales that have happened, I'm like, yeah, okay, the sprint is working, right? It's helping me tidy things up, like you said, do all this busy work in my store that needs to be done. And also just kind of set up for the rest of the year so that we're ready to push hard again the next opportunity. But yeah, it's an interesting time of year. It's kind of not unlike the way that the weather can't decide, like, is it still cold or is it summer? In DC all week, it's been like 90. It's been so hot. But, we were laughing. Me and Leah and Georgiana from GR were laughing. They're like, oh, we were in the snow together, like, not too long ago. And now it's like 90. Like, what is this? Right. But it's a little bit of back and forth. It's a little bit scatterbrained. But at the end of the month, it's going to be really rewarding to see, even if you didn't complete everything, just how much progress on all fronts has been made. So let me ask you this, Ken. How did you do with the challenge last week, which was about tapping into your network for sourcing?
I would say I failed horribly because...
oh, no. More horribly than me, who was traveling the whole week?
Because I shouldn't have been spending one.
Oh.
And
that's true. That was the first rule.
Yeah, right. So, and then there was like a store opening, right? Right by us. And obviously, I was like, we've kind of known of the store opening, but I'm like, oh, I'm not going to go.
You're like, but it has to happen right now? Like,
and then like,
when I'm not supposed to be spending?
Right.
Great.
And then we ended up sourcing like 88 pieces there.
Well, that's awesome.
It was great, right? And then, right, and then we got kicked into a gear of like, we were talking off the air, chatting about the haul, and you're like, well, I guess it's exempted if it gets listed in 24 hours. Well, golly, we listed it within 24 hours.
I was trying to throw you a bone. I'm like,
right. So
you're not cheating if.
So it all got listed, and a lot of them were one-offs. And I think I sold like 5 pieces out of that whole haul already.
Okay, you told me though, I remember when this happened, and I said, I mean, if it's already listed within 24 hours, it's like it never happened. So,
yeah.
But you said to me, we're not going to eat dinner until all the drafts are done. So what time did you eat dinner?
Oh yeah. We ate dinner at like 8:30 or something like that.
Oh, that's not even bad.
Yeah, not bad.
I thought it was going to be like 1 a.m.
Yeah, and then like it was Sunday the following day, so we took off, and then on Monday it was already live. So so like it was fast, and also it was kind of like refreshing to kind of like put some urgency there. It's like, oh, we still got the speed, so now we're just full steam ahead this week. That's kind of like our goal, full steam ahead this week. And I was just looking at it, what our listing count, and we're finally catching up to all the sales that we did this month. So again, the goal is to just at least maintain the number count, the quantity count, the value count is there too. So that's it. And also, well, I realize, so I've had a few consignment clients before.
I wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah, and then I realized that that he has sent me more stuff that pretty much got put on the side next to our pile of we'll list it later pile. Mm-hmm. So I have identified those, but we still haven't listed them. Because obviously it's a consignment client. I want to log everything before I.
Yes, you got to track everything.
Yeah, I wanna make sure, and also make sure that everything's gonna be worth it. I think one of the things that we're gonna do differently is only everything over $150. That's kind of like my goal. And a lot of this are footwear, because previously we took on a lot of more random stuff, and some are like $30, $40, right? And then once payout came, then it's like, like, am I really giving you for $5-10, on this, right?
Right.
And not just that, it's more of like, oh, that's the product that gets returned, right? And then I already paid you out for that, right? So so what my strategy is, if I pay you out monthly. After that, if the product comes back, it's mine.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like our rule. So I would say there's like 50 more products that we can add in for that. So that was a good kind of like, I guess, what the challenge brought me was like just an awareness of there's still stuff to list on that.
I was going to say, I don't think you failed horribly in that case, because I kind of went the consignment route too. Like, this was something that didn't line up perfectly with our timeline. I had already kind of established this, but kind of in the same boat. Like, I got all of this pile of stuff to my shop, and that's one of the things I'm working on through the end of April, is basically researching, figuring out what's worth it, logging it. And so I kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit, because there were so many different ways that you could do the challenge last week. It could be consignment. It could be picking up donations from friends and family. It could be free stuff on Marketplace. Like, we went through all of this laundry list of options. But the one that was already kind of actually waiting in the shop for me as we speak is a consignment client. And that's another thing I haven't done in years. Really haven't done it at all since we moved to Illinois. So this is my first like legit consignment client, and it's like a friend of mine from church, and he was kind of cleaning out an estate, and he is like super flexible about everything, which is nice in terms of like, this was just stuff that he came into for free, and he's like, I don't know what's worth it. I'm trusting your expertise. Like, it's very clear. Like, he did some of the elbow grease cleaning up the stuff, and I'm doing all the work of researching it. I'm allowed to donate whatever's not worth it. Like, we know our timeline, we know our profit split, and it's just pretty simple. So those are some things, like I like how you mentioned your policy about returns, because those are some things that if you are going to try consignment, you have to consider those things up front and be very clear about them. Because, you know, yes, in other sourcing settings, you have relationships with people, but this can get messy if you're not clear about it. And you don't want to like have awkwardness or hard feelings in your relationships with these clients. So knowing those are the important ones to me, the timeline, who's doing what, and what the split is, like that should be clear up front. So for me, with this client, everything, I'm going to start the clock and as soon as I get it all listed, because I'm going to do like a focused, like get all that inventory processed before I do any other inventory. And once it's all listed, then I'm starting the clock. And 1 year later, whatever's still left is mine, or I can do whatever I want with it.
Right. That's good. That's good. That's a good.
Yeah, because he's like, I don't want any of it back, and that's another option you can offer people. I can give it back to you, but I prefer keeping it because I'm the one who did all the work to list it. So
no, that's true.
It's like then you're just deleting a listing,
or it'll be on your decision whether it's a donate pile a year later.
Right. Yeah, totally. So anyway, I'm not giving us a fail for last week. It's a little bit a factor of like circumstances, but the whole point of all of this is to be creative, to think outside the box, and to, you know, if nothing else, like explore some different and good moves for your business. And I feel like we both still did that, even though we didn't do the whole process end to end. Like you, I didn't get any of those items listed because I haven't even been home during that challenge week. So, but still, I have a plan for it, and it's going to play out a little bit more gradually for me.
Right. And I think the whole general kind of like idea of it is, like you said, think creatively, and maybe people haven't realized that that could be their strong suit, right? I think,
it could be a whole, like you were saying earlier, an arm of your business. If you have a few really good consignment clients, I know some people who are mostly fashion sellers that have like amazing, like high-end clothing consignment clients on a regular basis.
Right.
And that, you know, even half of the sale or whatever the split is for you of that item is like, that's a great item. You didn't have to spend any time finding it. Like,
no,
that's a good deal.
Yeah, I think that's a good kind of like call out there. So I think you know, this was a wrap. I think you know, congratulations to everybody that did something. So next week, the last week, or this week, I guess.
Yeah, we should say this week, whenever this is coming out.
Yeah, when this is coming out this week, the last week of April.
Second to last.
Yeah, what are we kind of what's the challenge for this to finish up April?
Yeah, so this is our last kind of sourcing related challenge, and I'm calling this one a wealth of exposure. And there are also a few different ways to do this. We've been talking, and we really want to do kind of a deeper dive on cross-listing at some point. But this idea originally started as a cross-listing challenge because, like we were just discussing earlier in this episode, that's been a really valuable thing in both of our businesses at different times. You know, and this is another way where, in like kind of a indirect way, I guess I could say, you're not actually expanding your inventory, but you are. At least what you're expanding is the exposure that it's getting to buyers when you're cross-listing without having to spend more money, and without having to list more stuff. So if you're into cross-listing or you've been curious about it, this is a great time to try cross-listing to just amplify the inventory you have without spending anything. A lot of the cross-listers have free trials. You're going to have to learn a little bit how to use their platform, but it's worth it, and usually doesn't take that long. So it's worth the investment of exploring it, I think. But if you don't want to cross-list, if you're against that, you could try amplifying your exposure some other ways. Like maybe you could put some like of your larger items, or even like I see so much fashion on Facebook Marketplace now, but put some other stuff on Marketplace, like one other platform. You don't even have to use the software to put it there. But you can do that manually, or you could, if you've been purging like crazy, and you have all kinds of stuff from your store or your house that you were just going to donate or whatever, like have a yard sale. Like right. I was just thinking about this the other day because, again, as we're recording this, I'm in DC, and the last time I was here, in 2024, and I was actually here back to back almost. There was a weekend in between my trips to DC. And in that weekend, I had a huge yard sale at my house, and it was so much work and it was crazy. And I don't recommend doing that between back-to-back traveling. But the reason I did it is because I had purged like 3,000 items from my store that were like dead weight from old consignment clients from years and years past, and just stuff that was not worth the average sale price anymore. And I did make a few $100s that I put back into better inventory. So I was gonna just donate that stuff anyway, and instead I got a few more $100 and then donated the rest. So maybe that's where you're at if you've been doing a lot of spring cleaning. And one more would be to utilize social media for exposure. Right. Like I actually, fun fact, have a channel on Instagram, or have an Instagram that's just for my store, actually, like where I just push through items when I list them, just to showcase some of the stuff in my store because it's so fun and miscellaneous. And I'm not really making a serious effort to I'm not trying to sell stuff on Instagram, and I'm not trying to generate a huge following or something, but I just think it's a cool way to be able to showcase some of the cool things that I find in my store. And collect them all in one place. And right. I can link out to my store that way too.
Yep.
So that's one thing you can do. But, Ken, I know you have kind of another take on that too on social media.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I, kind of thought of when bringing more exposure to your store, I guess it kind of happened organically as we work out, we work out every day. We have a class. We get to be friends with the people that we work out with, and you start the conversation that, hey, what do you do for a living, yada yada yada, and because of talking to so many resellers too often, too much, I just think that what we do is kind of like a normal thing, right?
Yeah.
Selling e-commerce in my head is. That's what everybody does, right? Or either you have a 9-to-5, But what I found out
those are the only options,
right? People kind of just they wonder, and they have more follow-up questions. Wait, you're selling me? You're saying you sell this and that and that? Yeah, we have those, and then that's when they say wait, where can we find your items? And that's when I bring up most of my items are on eBay. That's our main platform. And I wish there was an easy way to send them to my store on eBay, right? Because they think wait, should I just go on eBay and search for an item? I was no, not really, because you're not gonna find my store that way. Yeah, there's
not a super direct way to do it,
right? So now, which is kind of a little bit more extra layer. It's hey, let's exchange contacts. I'll send you the link to my store.
Yeah.
So that is one. I think But that story is just really organically showing and telling people what you do, and not really being afraid of it and be ashamed of it. It's not that I'm not afraid of it. Maybe I'm just not wanting to have more deeper conversation. But what I found out is a lot of people are now really interested on hey, so because my hesitation is oh, so you're the reason why, I can't find good stuff around our area because you buy all this stuff. So that's always in the back of my head, because that's my number one goal. My goal is to beat everybody to the best deals in town. But also what I realized is yes, I sell items that are not available on shelves anymore that they can still buy for a great deal.
Yeah.
And this has been kind of happening within the last 2 months, and crazy enough, I've sold 2 pairs of shoes through.
That's funny.
Through that, and I said hey, send offer. I'll give you a better discount and stuff like that. Sometimes I just I preferably just wanted to let it to go through eBay, unless they truly wanted to buy it direct because they want it now.
Yeah.
So I guess with that kind of experience, then I think what you were saying, Anna, like creating an Instagram store or Instagram account that just sells your items there too, that kind of like mirror, right? It's kind of like cross listing, um, but this is kind of like, right, I guess this is the happy medium of me creating a web store and not creating a web store.
Right.
So out of that, like I've had 4 or 5 people ask me already to send them the link, and again, like it's kind of like a friends and family discount, right? Like who knows, like, and a lot of times is, like my experience is like they are wanting to buy more,
Yeah.
and it's like they want a bundle, like, hey, can I buy all 3 of these?
Yeah,
So
totally.
that's the great part about it. And again, like we love eBay and everything like that, but there's a million ways to sell things. I remember I was selling stuff on Facebook Marketplace before I had an eBay store.
Yeah.
And that was my main gig, Facebook meetups and stuff like that. So there is definitely that. And I guess out of all this, maybe this could, you could run into some future consignment client that wants to get rid
Oh
of their
yeah.
whole collection or their whole wardrobe, or maybe they're moving and stuff like that. So, this is just another way of not just bringing exposure to your items, but bringing exposure to your business, right? You got to think that you are a business, and I'm guilty of this. Like, I feel like I'm just a sole operator, or like, I'm just like I'm just, Ken flipping, but you have to think that we run off business, right? And the moment you start acting like it, people gonna start treating it like a business. There were times that I was trying to give such a great deal, and the guy wanted to give me more money for my stuff because he said he wants to support my business. And I'm like, golly, this never happens, right? This never
Yeah, who
happens.
does
But
that?
because of that personal connection, right? Like this
Yeah.
person wants you to win, and there's this story. It's a kind of sad story, but the people that will support you more are not your friends and family, all right? Because you become too average and too they become too comfortable with you, and what you do is too basic. Like they're educated about what you do, so they're gonna, there's like a thinking of like, oh, like he got that for 10, I'm giving him 15 is great already. But there's a
Right.
guy that doesn't really know you but wants you to win, is willing to give you more than what you were asking.
Yeah.
So let if you want those things to happen, it's not gonna happen magically. You gotta start opening yourself up to more exposure and sharing those things to people.
Yeah. And I mean, also, there will always be people who don't understand or appreciate what you do. I mean,
Yep.
there are some like asterisks to this story, but like the face value of it is like I have a family member who insisted on referring to me as the gouge queen when she found out what I was doing. And I'm like, but every retailer everywhere marks up what they buy.
Yeah,
Like, of course
right.
you're going to buy it for something and sell it for more. Like that is a business model.
Right.
But, it's a whole thing. So
Mm-hmm.
some people are not going to like it or respond well to it, and you're welcome to ignore them. It's fine.
Right.
Like you don't have to please everyone.
No, 100%.
But also,
Totally
I
agree.
would say you brought up a good point about how this could inadvertently lead to some consignment clients. So if you did not take our challenge last week and go the consignment route with it, I would just encourage you to think about under what conditions you would actually entertain a consignment client if
Right.
you've never done it before, or if you have, just in case it comes up. Because I know that's happened to me a couple of times since I kind of wrapped up my Georgia consignment, where I was like, people asked me about it, and I kind of was like, I don't know. I don't know.
Right.
I know that if I do it again, I want to do it a little differently than I did it before, and I just didn't have my thoughts together about it yet. So I just encourage you to think about that, write it down. Like, what would your actual conditions and terms be if you were to say yes to that, and have it on hand, because you never know when that can happen.
Yeah, and again, one of the things that I thought about too is like adding more exposure is, maybe you haven't told anybody about this, and maybe you're not comfortable telling people directly. I think that's what social media is for. Just share what you do through social media. It's like, hey, not in a marketing way, but in just
your
a more
audience
of like
will find you.
right, just in a very human way that, hi guys, I'm Ken, and I have, I'm a full-time teacher maybe, and this is my side hustle, and this is kind of like, and then kind of like, put what's your goal for this year, right? We've talk about goals. It's like, maybe your goal for this side hustle is to pay off some debt. Maybe your goal for this side hustle is to afford your family some vacation time, or to take your family overseas, or to go to Disney World or something like that. And when you put a goal up there that costs money, people understand. It's like, oh, this person is hustling a little bit extra,
right,
to afford something more than what he could. And I think that's very noble. I think that's something that a lot of people can get behind with, and make that, social media post, and just don't care if somebody likes it or not. But it's just one way of you telling somebody out there that this is what I do. And like, whether I believe there's going to be great results. There's going to be at least a good result out of it.
Yeah.
But it's more for like, beyond the exposure, it's more like a personal exercise that, can you tell people what you do?
Yeah. And there are some people in your life who will be the opposite of what I was saying before. And they'll be like, oh, I need to buy something, I'm going to check with them first. Right. Like, oh, you sell sneakers and my kid needs new sneakers. Well, I'm going to see what you've got before I go somewhere else, because of course I want to support a person I care about more than I want to support some huge retailer. Right. Like, some people think like that. And they
there's people
they don't know unless they know to look in your store
that
first.
literally go to farmers market weekly because they want to support their local farmers, right? Like, that's a thing. They want to support sustainable businesses.
So amazing if you had a booth at a farmers market with sneakers.
That'd be wild.
Like, local, raw, organic, local, homegrown sneakers right here in Cincinnati.
Not even just sneakers, just like t-shirts, like shorts, everything, right? Like.
Oh yeah, people love a vendor event for sure.
Right. So maybe that would be something fun to meet local people and just put out exposure. So that was the thing before internet.
That would be so fun, actually, to do like some seller circle should do that, like a reseller showcase, fair, where everyone brings some of their stuff.
That'd be cool.
And
then
it would be cool.
Regionally, right? Regionally, that's a great idea. So if you're listening, and if you wanna, do something, I think that would be pretty cool. About one way to do exposure physically in a more direct, rather than just blasting it online, but both work, right? Both of those ways work, and they will yield results. So I think that was a pretty good challenge. Anything else?
Yeah, I don't think so. We wish each one of you a wealth of exposure this week, whatever way you choose to pursue it. And next week we have, basically, it's a little partial week, the last half week of April or so. And we are going to do a little wrap up to this series of no spending. So we'll talk about that next week, and maybe we'll have some other things cooked up by then, Ken. I think we've got some interesting stuff ahead in May as well.
Yeah, for sure. Well, huge shout out to Seller Ledger for being a sponsor for this podcast. Make sure you check them out. It's not too late to get your book straight. And we will see you on the next episode. Peace.
Bye.